What's going on, guys? Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and in this video, I'm going to go over one of my DraftKings Millionaire lineups from NFL Week 8. So as you can see here, I placed 15th in the Millionaire. It was my best week since week 1 of the NFL season, and I had about 80 lineups in the Millionaire, so quite a few that did really bad as well. I had some Brock Osweiler stacks, started to really like him later on in the week with Darius Slay being out for the Lions and the Lions having a really bad defense. I had a lot of Osweiler stacks, I had some Russell Wilson, had some other stacks down there that did really bad, but then I had a couple of really good lineups, and one of them finished pretty high here, as you can see, 15th, and I had a little bit of a sweat going where I could have gotten a lot higher. I'll talk about that in a second. So I finished 15th, good for $5,000. And overall, pretty solid week for me. But I had a point where I could have moved in a second towards the end of the afternoon games, and I think I would have finished third or fourth when it was all said and done if Melvin Gordon, who you can see in this lineup, got a late touchdown for San Diego. So they had an opportunity. It was first and goal from the 2-yard line with about 2.5 minutes left, and instead of running the ball maybe 3 or 4 times against the NFL's best pass defense in the Broncos, the Chargers decided to throw the ball all 4 times, and they did not get a touchdown. So if they try to punch it in with Melvin Gordon all 4 times and they got it in one of those times, I believe I would have moved into second at the time, and I think by the end of the night I would have finished third or fourth for a nice payout. So it was a good sweat while it lasted, and ended up getting a good payout. Got 15th, which is the highest I've ever finished in the Millie Maker contest. So it was a pretty fun day for me. A lot of my picks did pretty well, and I'll talk about this lineup here really quick. So as you can see here, it was a Derek Carr and Amari Cooper stack, and originally I was on Mike Evans, who is also in this lineup. I was on Winston and Evans, and then on Saturday, so I've got the email pulled up here. Saturday, I emailed this out to everyone who's on my email list. If you're not on it, click on the lineup tool link in the YouTube description below. It'll get you on the email list. But I sent out this update. I said my first quarterback wide receiver stack mentioned in the video was Winston and Evans. I think they would be a good cash stack, but Winston is projected to be the highest owned quarterback in the Millie Maker. So I think I will reduce my exposure a little bit on Winston. So after doing my video, I don't look at projections of ownership. I don't read articles. I don't listen to podcasts before doing my video. And then after doing my video, I found out that Winston would probably be around 20% owned in the Millie Maker. So I decided I wanted to pivot off him a little bit and reduce that exposure to him. So a lot of my Winston lineups changed. I did some other quarterbacks. I did, like I talked about, Osweiler. I got some exposure to some bad quarterbacks as well. But one of the pivots was Derek Carr, who was in the same game, $200 more expensive. I thought this game would be high scoring. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I just thought it was a good spot to pivot to Derek Carr. So luckily I got on Carr a little more than I think I would have, and had maybe 8 to 10 lineups in the Millie Maker with Carr and Cooper, and hit this one for a nice 218 points and a pretty good payout there for 15th place. So other than that, I had Devontae Booker, who's the chalk running back, 65% owned, put up 18 points. I had Matt Forte, who put up 23 points. I didn't have too much Forte in other lineups just because there was other guys around his price like Freeman and Ware, who I liked quite a bit, but I did like Forte as well. Like I said, there's tons of great running back options that were pretty expensive, so it was tough to kind of pick from them. But I had Forte in this lineup. Quincy Enunwa put up 19.3 points. He was a guy I mentioned in my video last week. He was a value wide receiver, 4,800, that I liked quite a bit. I figured he'd be higher than 8% owned, just given the matchup versus Cleveland. But I was happy to see him at 8% owned, and happy to see him score a touchdown and put up 93 yards. And could have got the 100-yard bonus as well if he got maybe one more catch, but still happy with the 19.3 points. Travis Kelce put up 26.1 points. He was a guy I mentioned in my video, and I tweeted out on Sunday that I was having troubles fitting him into lineups because there was so many high-priced receivers and running backs that I liked. But I still wanted to keep some exposure to Kelce, so I think I had him about 10% owned in my lineups, and he's 4,900, but definitely paid that off with 26 DraftKings points. Melvin Gordon, who I talked about, he was a guy I didn't have in too many lineups just because of the matchup versus Denver, but I thought he would be a good tournament play at just 5,700. He's getting most of the touches in San Diego. You can see the last 3 games, 27, 22, 23 rushing attempts, and he gets some targets as well. So I thought it was a good spot for him, but just a little bit of a tough matchup. So I didn't have too much exposure to him, but lucky to have him in this lineup. And then the Panthers defense there. Defense was a position I really struggled with, and I tweeted that out on Sunday. I was really struggling with my defense. I didn't want to pay up for the Broncos, who I thought were the clear-cut number 1 option of the week. I had them in a couple lineups, but I didn't want to spend the money on the Broncos, knowing that they would be really high owned. And just with so many expensive wide receiver, running back, even tight end options that I liked on the week, I just didn't want to spend up on defense. So I was trying to find cheaper defenses. I got on the Chargers quite a bit. I got on the Cowboys a bit at 3,000, and then one of the other ones I got on a little bit was the Panthers at 2,900. But it was one of the ones where I didn't really love it, but I just wanted to mix up my exposure on defenses. I don't like to go over 20% owned to one defense. So I was trying to throw in some random defenses. So in the lineups that I didn't have any Cardinals players, I would go with the Panthers possibly. So this one ended up being one of those lineups. A lot of the lineups I had either John Brown, even JJ Nelson or Larry Fitzgerald in, and some David Johnson. But in the lineups that I didn't have any of those guys, I would sometimes go with the Panthers. So I believe I might have had like 5 or 6 lineups with the Panthers D, maybe 8 lineups I'd have to check. But I got them in this lineup and they put up 19 points. So overall, pretty solid lineup here, 218 points. Most weeks that would get you not a very good payout in the Millie Maker at least. But this week where all the chalk either got injured or didn't play well, except for maybe Devontae Booker, who was highly owned. A lot of the chalk got injured. T.Y. Hilton was injured, didn't do anything at all. Mike Evans didn't do anything. Spencer Ware was chalk. He got injured. Some quarterbacks got injured. Just not a good scoring week for fantasy. So 218 points was really good this week. Got me 15th. And could have been a little better, but definitely a very good week for me overall. And a lot of the picks did pretty good as well. So I know a lot of you guys were tweeting at me already. So hopefully you guys made a little bit of money as well this week. If not, we'll get it in week 9. That video will come out probably on Wednesday, maybe Thursday. But be sure to check on that. And for now, just click on the button that's on the screen right now and subscribe to the second YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you've already done that, I've got another video here on the right-hand side that you can see. Click on that and watch that if you haven't already seen it. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. So I want to get more subscribers on this channel so I can do more of these lineup reviews. So make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and talk to you guys soon.